Hello, hello, hello. Get off the... Oi, I see you. Get off the Veloce page right now. This is better content, alright? This is better content. This is... They've stole my idea, alright? They're 100% stealing my idea. Veloce, please, never steal an idea of mine again, or I will come after you. I am being genuine here, like... I'll come after you because I started doing this before it was popular, and then I gave up on it because I was busy and I just couldn't be arsed to do it. Now I am, so Veloce, don't go stealing my ideas, alright? I see you, Hayden. I see you, Hayden. Right. Just need to make that a little bit bigger. There we go. And there we go. See? Now I'm in between. So yeah, I'm going to get this on and we will be ready. I think the formation lap has already started. So I'm a little bit late. Sorry, guys. So yeah, the grid for today's race is... let me just get up on my phone. I've got it with me. Just need to make sure it's... Right, yep, the formation lap has just started. And... the grid order for today's race is... So on pole position is George Russell, taking his maiden pole position in Formula 1. And alongside him on the front row is Carlos Sainz. In third place is Charles Leclerc, just checking that this is all working just fine, it is. And fourth is Lando Norris. And then it's a double Alpine third row with Esteban Ocon ahead of Fernando Alonso. And then in 7th place, it's Lewis Hamilton. 8th is Valtteri Bottas, decent qualifying for him. And 9th is Daniel Ricciardo, a little bit off his teammate, 6/10 to be exact. Almost exactly 6/10. Then, in 10th place, shockingly, is Max Verstappen. And then just behind him is Sergio Perez, as the Red Bulls encountered problems in qualifying. Perez couldn't get a clean lap in. And Verstappen had engine problems in Q3, which cost him potentially pole position. Then in 11th place, we have... I already said 11th place. In 12th place, we have Zhou Guanyu, who was happy with the progress that he had made. Then 13th is Kevin Magnussen. New upgrades for the Haas did not do them much good. In 14th is Lance Stroll for Aston Martin, beating his teammate Sebastian Vettel yet again. Then in 15th is Mick Schumacher, who's got the old Haas... car and was only 3/10 off the pace of his teammate. Then it's Yuki Tsunoda, and yet again being knocked out in Q1. Then it's the two Williams cars in 17th and 19th of Alex Albon and Nicholas Latifi, and in between that sandwich, the man who confirmed his retirement just this week, Sebastian Vettel. Pierre Gasly is starting from the pit lane. So this is going to be a very interesting race. I believe it's going to be a dry race to start with, and the Ferraris, I think are they on different tyres? I can't actually tell. What I'm going to need to do is, I've got a genius idea which will help out a lot with the commentary. I'm going to go into the F1 page and find the timing. F1.com and sign in. Please let me sign in on that account. Yes, thank you very much. And now I can access the live timing. So, if I can just get this up. The Ferraris are both on mediums. Lando and George are both on softs. And here we go. 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And it's lights out and they're off. George Russell gets a good getaway from first place. That soft tyre is helping him out on the start. It helps Lando Norris out as he's battling with his old pal Carlos Sainz as they head into turn 1. Sainz is going to go around the outside. Can he make the move? He's side by side with him. Russell forces him out. Hamilton wide there. He makes the move on both the Alpines. Verstappen's made a good start. He's gone past Alonso. And as they head in towards turn 5, it's still Russell in the lead. Second place is Carlos Sainz and third is Charles Leclerc. They're hanging on the Russell's back end like a hawk. And can they make a move? Eventually, at the end of this lap, we will see. But everyone gets away cleanly. Pierre Gasly in the background just warming up his tyres. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. I don't know what happened, but someone has clearly gone off, and it's not been a green flag start like I thought. I don't know who it is that's out, but it's someone. I know that for a fact. It's not either the Alpines, because they're right there, and the track is now clear, so that means there's not any retirements as things stand. But it's George Russell that's leading. Second is Carlos Sainz. Third is Charles Leclerc. And then in fourth place is Lando Norris. Fifth is Lewis Hamilton. Sixth is Esteban Ocon. Seventh is Fernando Alonso. Eighth, Max Verstappen. Ninth is Sergio Perez. And then in 10th place is the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, who's made a very, very good start. Oh wait, no, it's Daniel Ricciardo. And then it's Daniel Ricciardo, I believe. I'll just need to quickly go into my live stream and just check that everything's good. Need to mute the audio. And Alex Albon is out of the race, I believe. We've got a virtual safety car. I don't know what it's for. Something's happened with Alex Albon apparently. And I believe, there's debris on the track as Stroll made contact with Albon. Albon made contact with Stroll, sorry. Can you guys hear that? No, you can't. Okay, good. So the virtual safety car is now out. This is a replay of the race start. And it's a good start from Russell. Sainz got a good launch. Leclerc didn't, and Norris was actually going to try and make a move into turn 1 by the look of things. Into turn 1. They were side by side, but Russell made the right call, forcing Sainz out wide so he couldn't make the move. And I can't see the contact just yet. This is a replay of Lewis Hamilton's start. He had a brilliant getaway, getting past both the Alpine cars off the start. So there's Fernando and Esteban having a little battle, and Lewis sees an opportunity, just like he did in Australia. And he goes around the outside, tries to get past Lando Norris. He isn't able to, but nevertheless, it was a good launch from the 7-time world champion. Don't argue with me, Hamilton fans. Verstappen deserved the title. Anyway, we're on board with Max Verstappen, and he got a good launch. Valtteri Bottas, I see, didn't get a good launch, and he got past both Valtteri Bottas and his old teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Sergio Perez went ballsy and went around the outside. So actually, how did Verstappen end up back ahead of Perez then? Because Perez gained quite a few spots. What happened with Alonso that made him bogged down? I think he got pincered by his teammate, and so then he forced out Ricciardo, so Ricciardo couldn't get through on him. Blake, I prefer doing these solo, but thanks for asking. At least I know someone wants to do my job. And this is a replay of Sebastian Vettel. So what happened with Albon? Oh, he got hit. He got hit by Latifi, I believe. Lance Stroll and Alex Albon had a collision, and so did Latifi and Sebastian Vettel. But anyway, we're back off again, and Russell's got a huge gap to Sainz and Leclerc. He has absolutely sent them on the restart. So first is Russell, second Leclerc, second is Sainz, third Leclerc, fourth Norris, fifth Hamilton, sixth Ocon, seventh Alonso, eighth Verstappen, ninth Perez, and 10th Magnussen. And we're on lap 3 of 70 here at the Hungaroring. DRS has been enabled, so I wonder, are Ferrari going to play the switcheroo game and let Leclerc go past Sainz? I wonder if they will do that, or if they will see what their pace is after a few laps and monitor the situation like they always do. All I'm going to say is you can expect a Ferrari screw up here. Here's Max Verstappen. Is he going to be able to make a move on Fernando Alonso in towards the final corner? They go into the penultimate corner now. He's just behind him, and you'll probably get him with DRS as they head onto the main straight. Fastest lap, George Russell. Now it's Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are both... Oh yeah, I forgot. Chances are a driver lower down will set fastest lap, because it was a virtual safety car, so whoever's the furthest back when the safety car ends has the best advantage. So actually, that's not really on merit. We need to wait for a couple of laps to see what the on merit fastest lap is going to be and what the pace is going to be represented as in this race. But here comes Verstappen. He's having a little look here at Alonso. Is he going to be able to do the under and over on him? No, he's not. And this is a track that is well known for being tricky to overtake around, and that might not help out Max Verstappen in this race, as Fernando Alonso, as we saw last year here, is a very, very good defender on the track. Although last year it was trickier to follow around, so maybe it might be a bit easier for Verstappen this year than it was for Hamilton last year to make an overtake on the Alpine, and a similar performance difference compared to last year as well. So this will be very interesting to see. Of course, Esteban Ocon in 6th place won the Grand Prix last year ahead of Sebastian Vettel got disqualified, so it wasn't him in the end, but it was Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz that finished on the podium in the end, poor old Sebastian Vettel. But he has made a good start. Zhou Guanyu has lost 5 places off the start, and Alex Albon has had to come into the pits because of his damage. Sainz sits as fast as lap. He is closing in on Russell here, and Perez is 7 tenths behind Verstappen. He's actually just as close as Verstappen is to Alonso, so that's not going to help Verstappen out, unless Checo backs out a little bit. Excuse me, everyone. Russell's still leading. 2 seconds is the gap to Carlos Sainz, and then in 3rd is Charles Leclerc. 4th, Lando Norris still, and then 5th is Lewis Hamilton. The top 10 has not changed since the opening lap. And here comes Max Verstappen. He's going to have a look at Fernando Alonso. It's a lovely little overtake, and he's through and up into 7th place. Next up, Esteban Ocon, and then his old championship rival, Lewis Hamilton. And that is a good move from the Dutchman. The engine power getting through there, and that just shows the difference between this year and last year. You can follow a lot more, and actually Alonso was really struggling on the corner exit. I don't even think Verstappen expected to get past him through there, but Alonso sort of lifted off because he knew Verstappen was going to get past him because of the amount of momentum he had. Sainz hasn't actually closed in that much on this lap. Russell started to pick up the pace a little bit, but keep in mind, Russell's on soft tyres, Sainz and Leclerc are both on mediums. It's sort of soft, medium, medium, soft, medium, medium, as a sort of the way things go. Half the drivers on the grid are on softs, half of them are on mediums. So yeah, it's split strategy throughout the field. But what I've noticed is that all of the teams that are deploying, most of the teams that are deploying the softs are midfield teams. As here comes Kevin Magnussen defending now from Daniel Ricciardo, who's on the soft tyres. The Haas's are on the mediums, the McLarens are on the softs, so surely this will be like taking candy from a baby. It's not, because K-Mag's going to defend here. He's going to really defend, but here comes Sergio Perez now. He's going to try and get past Fernando Alonso. Can he get past into the here? No, he can't. And Magnussen's still ahead of Ricciardo as they head into turn 6. And now we go into the section which is impossible to pass around. It's the land of impossible passes. It is very close between Verstappen, Ocon, Alonso and Perez at the moment, but we are going to see what happens later on down the line, because keeping in mind, soft tyres last much less than the mediums, but have more pace in them. Russell's still leading, 1.9 seconds is the gap, so Sainz is closed in a little bit on this lap, but the gaps are sort of starting to stabilise now, similar to that of the Formula 2 and Formula 3 races. And a black and orange flag for Kevin Magnussen, because I thought I saw front wing damage on him, and he does in fact have front wing damage, so he's going to have to come in the pits. So Russell's engineer has just said it's going to be dry for the next half an hour, which is, by my calculations... Oh, and down the inside goes Max Verstappen. Has he made the move? Stick on Esteban Ocon. Yes, he has. Kevin Magnussen's coming to the pits now, and Daniel Ricciardo is released into the wild. A wild Honey Badger is free to go. And now Sergio Perez is going to try and go around the outside of Fernando Alonso. It's a good overtake. He will probably make it stick, because the inside usually pays off around here, and it does. Sergio Perez is up into 8th place, Verstappen up into 6th. So now Verstappen's going to have to close up on his old championship rival, Lewis Hamilton. I find it interesting because the Mercs are on split strategies. Hamilton's on the mediums, Russell's on the softs. So it'll be interesting to see how Mercedes use this. I think what they're going to do is they're going to pit Russell and try and get Hamilton to hold up the Ferraris when they come in. Although, to be fair, the Ferraris are in mediums as well. So chances are they'll be pitting in the same window as Hamilton, unless Hamilton can be some sort of tyre whisperer and save the tyres better than the Ferraris, which is very difficult to do, because Ferrari arguably had the best chassis for tyre management on the grid. Red Bull were not great in Austria, and Ferrari were actually good on their tyres in France, but they pitted Sainz for some stupid reason. But yeah, we're heading on to lap 8 out of 70 here, and Max Verstappen and Mick Schumacher have gained the most places on this start. Sergio Perez has also gained 3 places, and the man who's lost out the most is, I believe, Zhou Guanyu. No, it's Kevin Magnussen, sorry. Barring incidents, it's Zhou Guanyu. However, Kevin Magnussen has had a bit of damage, so he had to come into the pits. Alonso has gone down 3 places because he started 6th. Esteban Ocon started in 5th, but you'd expect that because the Red Bulls are much quicker cars than the Alpines. Lewis Hamilton's made a good start as well. Again, you'd expect that because, you know, the Mercedes is quicker than the Alpines. I mean, there's a reason why George Russell got pole position. Russell's actually gained a little bit there on Carlos Sainz. And like I said, the gap a few laps ago, the gaps are just stabilising now. Not much is really going on at the moment. But when it comes to the pit stops, that's when it will start to get interesting. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my monitor so I'm not looking down as much. And then I'll move this down a little bit to compensate for it. There we go. There we go. Right. See, now I'm standing up normally, and I'm properly going through the limit of this wire. How far back can I go? I can go quite far back, actually. So yeah, Ocon just ahead of Perez as they head on to the main straight. Down the inside goes Sergio Perez. Is he going to be able to make the move stick on the Frenchman? The man who won here last year. He does get past. Is Ocon going to fight it? I don't think he is. And even if he tries to, he's not got the DRS or the straight line speed of the Red Bull. And there we go. That's better. I'm looking at it now, and you can only see my hair. My bad trim. Anyway, Russell just ahead of Sainz. 2.3 seconds to be exact. And then Leclerc's another 1.6 seconds back. Then Lando Norris is nearly 4 seconds behind them. Just trying to see that. I think this is the middle. Hamilton team radio. So they are seeing signs of, not Carlos Sainz, they're seeing signs of soft tire runners struggling with their front tires, which is fair enough because these soft tires, they ain't gonna last long in this race. They're gonna wear and wear out, and as a result, it's gonna leave these guys vulnerable as the end of their stint happens, which is in a couple of laps time, because according to AWS, the 2-stop strategy will which is softs, the lap window will be 16 to 21. The pit window will be lap 16 to lap 21, and we are on lap 10 here at the Hungarian, a 7th of the way through the race. I can't work out as a percentage. That's too much for me to do right now. I'm trying to commentate on a race. So Lewis Hamilton just behind Lando Norris as they head in towards turn 6. Hamilton's got a lot more speed than Norris has because of the slipstream. Sebastian Vettel's just got past Yuki Tsunoda for 14th place. He's having a good start. Is my man Seb. Go check out my interview with him. 2.4 seconds is 2.5 seconds now is the gap between Russell and Sainz. So Russell's beginning to push a little bit. I wonder if Sainz, because I'm not sure. I'll need to check the timing screens as to where Sainz is gaining and losing time. So on this lap so far, Sainz was actually quicker in the first sector than Russell, and then in this, and he actually did an absolute best first sector there. As these guys are heading around the last couple of corners. Oh, I knew that was gonna happen. I'm pretty sure the British fans are going berserk right now because all their boys are in the top 5. Sorry, English fans. I'm Scottish. I don't identify as British, but that's a political thing. So, not a Formula 1 related thing. And here comes Lewis Hamilton. He's had a little look. And now Max Verstappen's right on the end of this fight. So now we've got a 3-way fight here for 4th between Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, and Max Verstappen. Arguably 3 of the most talented drivers on the grid. Lando Norris heading in towards turn number 5 now. He's got 2 world champions behind him. Don't at me, Mercedes fans. You know it's true. Max deserved the title last year, but anyway. Max only 2 tenths behind Lewis Hamilton now, keeping in mind I'm unbiased, of course. And then 5 tenths to Lando Norris is the gap. On the exit of the corner, Lewis pulling away from Max Verstappen there. And can Hamilton pull away from Verstappen? No, because the Red Bull's quicker and also Norris is holding them both up. And Carlos Sainz, he's not really gaining much time on George Russell. Leclerc's actually pulled a tiny bit of time out of Sainz. And now here comes Lewis Hamilton. Is he going to be able to make the move as they head in towards the next corner? No, because that'd be suicide. What's your name? Arthur Leclerc. That was the third last corner, by the way, if you are wondering. So I believe there's 15 turns around this track, so that'll be turn 12. Now turn 13, sorry. Turn 14. And now heading into turn 15, the final corner on this track. And it's Lando Norris still ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Sainz and Leclerc both have closed in a little bit on Russell on that last lap. Because if Sainz is closed in and Leclerc's closing, and down the inside goes Lewis Hamilton. Is he going to be able to keep the move stick? Is he going to be able to stick with the move? Is he going to be able to stick with the move? Here comes Max Verstappen. Is he going to be able to make the move around the outside as they head in towards turn number 4? It's a good overtake around the outside from Max Verstappen, and Lando Norris, just like that, has gone from 4th to 6th. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton now will be dueling for 4th place as Verstappen's championship rival Charles Leclerc and potentially Carlos Sainz are up the road battling with Russell for this lead. Not right now, but they will be later unless Verstappen can say something about it, keeping in mind that him and Russell are both on that strategy of the 2-stop. The Ferraris will probably do a 1-stop and go from mediums to hards around about 30 laps into the race, but then these guys are doing 2-stops, and as we've seen in the past, the 2-stop pays off. As we saw in 2019 when Lewis Hamilton beat Max Verstappen to the win due to him doing the 2-stop and Max doing the 1-stop. For some reason my sky goes a bit loosey-goosey right now, so I'm just going to have to rely on the timing screens. And Lewis Hamilton's actually got a bit of a gap out to Max Verstappen, 1.1 seconds. Some of the gaps are close, some of them aren't at the moment. And sorry everyone, just got a bit of technical difficulties. Oh, and there goes Perez past Norris as they head into turn 1. So Sergio Perez is now up into 6th. Lando Norris is 7th. Where basically the McLarens should be, really, in comparison to the Red Bulls, the Ferraris, and the Mercs. And let me just go full screen again. No, I won't actually, because then I can get easy access to other applications. Zhou has just got past Tsunoda for 15th place. It's a good overtake, I presume, from him. Verstappen Team Radio. Verstappen is complaining of problems, and they've told him to go to fail 20, fail 20. That is what his race engineer at GP Lambias has said to him. And Lewis Hamilton was actually much quicker than Max Verstappen on the last lap. So maybe Verstappen hasn't got this almighty pace. And actually, maybe the Mercs are secretly the fastest car here. Because Sainz is not gaining that much on Russell, if anything. Leclerc isn't either. Because Leclerc is keeping the same gap to Sainz, and Sainz is keeping a similar gap to Russell. So unless the Ferraris are saving their tyres for later on in the race, which I doubt they are, because these mediums can last enough for them to do a 1-stop for a fact. So, now here comes the team game. This is where having a teammate that is similar pace to you is tricky, because Leclerc's got Sainz ahead of him. However, why are Ferrari getting the tyres out? It's only lap 14, lads. You're on mediums, for goodness sake. Do a 1-stop and go and pit on lap 30. This is what everyone thinks except you guys, because you are all a bunch of 5 IQ people. Seriously, if they did an IQ test, they would come back with the same amount of intelligence as the average roadman. I'm joking. For legal reasons, that is indeed a joke. Carlos Sainz, 1.2 seconds back from Charles Leclerc. Is Sainz going to let Leclerc through? I don't think he is, because he's closing in on George Russell as well. On the last lap, Leclerc gained 8 tenths of a second on Russell, and now they're closing in on him because Russell's getting a lot of graining. And heading into the last corner, Russell hasn't pitted, so Sainz has got another lap to try and catch Russell, but Leclerc is within DRS range of his teammate and has got DRS on him now. So I wonder, will he overtake him on merit, or will Sainz let him through? Norris is coming into the pits, I think. No, he's not. He's not pitted. Oh no, he has. He's just so far behind the others that he's already in the pits. I need to have a look at the... I need to see where the... And Lando Norris didn't have a great pit stop there, 4.5 seconds, so that might cost him in his battle with the Alpines in this race. If the Alpines can get a good pit stop, they might be able to battle a little bit closer. And that's the thing with this, it's catching and catching. Sainz is catching Russell, but in turn Leclerc is catching Sainz. So what are Ferrari going to do here? Are they going to A, keep Sainz ahead until he passes Russell and then get Leclerc through, so then they can do a swapsies and then they have a 1-2, and then Russell holds up Verstappen and Hamilton does as well? Or do they let Leclerc through and potentially screw up? Because Sainz is catching Russell, that's a fact. He's almost in DRS range of him. But Leclerc has pulled 2/10 on Sainz on that lap. So it's quite a tricky thing for Ferrari, because I think what Mercedes are doing is they're going to hope that these two Ferraris battle and then Russell can pull away. But I wouldn't. If I was Ferrari, I would say, Carlos, you have 3 laps, pick up the pace, or let Charles through. And then we would see which one of them is quicker, and then the other can catch George Russell, who's in the lead of this race. Sainz is getting closer indeed. He is catching up to George Russell, but is it going to be enough, as both the McLarens have now come into the pits? Of course, they were both on soft tyres. Sebastian Vettel also into the pits for Aston Martin, and I believe the other Aston Martin, Lance Stroll, has also pitted. But Verstappen just behind Lewis Hamilton there. Now Sainz is within DRS range of Russell, so that's going to help him out. Now the question is, will Sainz use Leclerc to help him out? Or now Ricciardo's come out in 16th place, Lance Stroll is 17th, Sebastian Vettel's 18th. And what are Ferrari doing? They're pitting Carlos Sainz right now. Why are they... Oh, what a surprise. They're not pitting him. And there goes George Russell. George Russell into the pits. I wonder, did Ferrari deliberately do a fluke there? Did Ferrari deliberately go, oh, we're going to come into the pits? But they weren't. And also, I wonder, did Carlos Sainz say, no, do not let me in, guys? Let's have a look. No, Ferrari were ready for him. I think Sainz would have said, guys, don't pit me. And he's doing what Leclerc didn't do. And he is telling Ferrari what he needs. George Russell coming out of the pits now, and he's behind both of the Alpine cars, I believe. He's side by side with Fernando Alonso on the exit of the corner. Is Fernando going to fight him? You're damn right he is. Max Verstappen comes out, and he's just in front of Mick Schumacher. Barely in front of Mick Schumacher. Around the outside goes George Russell. He's got a lot more grip, and he is now ahead of Fernando Alonso. So, Sainz is now leading, Leclerc second. I think now they should do the swap, because they've not got Russell in front. They have clean air. Let Leclerc ahead, he can push. Sainz can push, and they can jump Russell. If Russell shows good pace on these mediums, then Ferrari might have a little bit less of an opportunity to win this race. No, I deliberately... Ferrari... Oh, and actually... Sainz is coming in. Carlos Sainz is coming into the pits. So, I think Ferrari are trying to race with Mercedes with Sainz instead of Leclerc, which is interesting because Leclerc is actually the quicker driver. Are they going to put him on hards until the end, or another set of mediums? Putting him onto another set of mediums, and it's a slow stop. Oh dear, 3.7 seconds. Russell's heading out the last corner now and onto the main straight. He's powering onto the main straight. Sainz is on the pit exits right about now. And is Russell going to come out ahead? Yes, he is. And George Russell stays in the lead. The net race lead of this race, although Charles Leclerc is yet to pit. So we will see. Carlos Sainz now ahead of Fernando Alonso. He came out ahead of him actually. I thought it was Esteban Ocon, so I changed my mind. He's right behind Esteban Ocon now. Is he going to be able to get past him soon? Because that's what he needs in this race. He needs to get past him soon. Now him and Russell are on the same compound. We're going to be able to see which car is quicker. And if Ferrari had had a quicker pit stop, George might have stood a chance. And they had Mercedes actually had an even slower pit stop because they were struggling to get the front right off. Ferrari were just struggling in general. So yeah, I can't reply to that, Blake, because I don't swear. But Sainz 7/10 behind George Russell now, as George Russell, Esteban Ocon. I mean, I'm making loads of mistakes. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to. Had a little nap earlier. That's why I missed the F2. I was shattered from doing the F3. We're on lap 20 now, and it's Charles Leclerc that's leading by 10 seconds from Lewis Hamilton. As it stands, the gap is 17 seconds as Sergio Perez now comes into the pits. And George Russell sets fastest lap of the race. So Mercedes are playing a blinder here with their strategy. And down the inside goes Carlos Sainz. Fastest lap actually goes to Max Verstappen now, and Verstappen's starting to come into this race a little bit here. If Leclerc can set good pace right now, he might come out ahead of George Russell. He's got to have a few fast laps, but Sergio Perez has come out, and he's behind both Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas. And Zhou Guanyu is right behind him. Is Zhou Guanyu going to go for a move here as they head in towards the next turn? No, he's not. I totally get why you wouldn't. That is not his race. Latifi into the pits now as well, and he's going to drop down to the very back. Typical. Leclerc leading by 11.4 seconds now, but Russell's closing in hand over fist on Hamilton, and he's also closing in on Leclerc as well. So there goes. What happened was they went. One of the cameras went into the Mercedes pit crew, and one of them went right into the face of one of them, and he went. Here comes Hamilton into the pits. Now George Russell is properly free. He did have a 7-second gap behind him, but having someone in front of you that you're not fighting with in this race might do a little bit of damage in the brain. But I don't really know, to be honest. If I was in that case, I'd be a bit annoyed. But Hamilton pits. It was a good pit stop, 2.8 seconds, unlike Russell's. There goes Sainz going by. Now, is he behind the Alpines? He's behind Verstappen. Verstappen's jumped him in the pits. So it's been a poor strategy call there from Mercedes. And yet again, the queen at Red Bull. I forgot her name. I'm really annoyed. I can't believe I've forgotten her name. The queen, the head strategist at Red Bull, playing a blinder yet again. I'm really annoyed I forgot her name. To be fair, I forget most strategists. Hannah playing a blinder yet again. And she's basically the Red Bull equivalent of James Vels, and now Mercedes are screwed because Hannah is very good, very good. Anyway, the average time lost in the pit lane is 19.7 seconds. Russell, as it stands, will have a 1.3 second gap out in front. So Mercedes have played a blinder with Russell, but not with Hamilton, because Verstappen has jumped Hamilton out in the pit stops. Perez is now ahead of Valtteri Bottas. He's going to try and clear Mick Schumacher now. Sainz is not catching George Russell. He's 3 seconds behind him. Ferrari, yet again, screwing up on the strategy. They should not have pitted Sainz, because what they should have done was they should have kept him out on track, let Leclerc through, and then saw what would happen, because they'd have a 19-second gap. They could have... If Leclerc is still ahead of Russell on lap 30, then Ferrari have almost definitely won this race. Because if they pit Leclerc on lap 30, he can go to the end on the hard tyres, and just like that, he'd win the race. Give me a second, everyone. I need to sort something out. I will warn you guys, I won't be able to read chat anymore, because I'm charging my phone. Which is what I read my chat off of. Leclerc could pit. That's the thing. And Leclerc is coming in, actually. Well said, Blake, because now Leclerc is coming into the pits. And why are they pitting him now? Why are they pitting him now? Did I see did he just say soft tyres? Don't tell me Ferrari are putting on softs for him. No, they're not. They're putting on another set of mediums. And it's a good pit stop, actually. 2.9 seconds. He could have... Nah, he's not got a chance. Russell's already heading down. No, wait, hang on. It's going to be close here. Nah, Russell's ahead. Russell's quite a bit ahead, actually. But Leclerc is now ahead of Sainz. And Ferrari will be like, ha, we win. You don't. If you had stayed... Ferrari have just lost this race. Because they're going to have to do a 2-stop. They could have done a 1-stop and got 19 seconds on Russell. If they had just kept him out for 8 more laps and then put him onto the hard tyres to the end, then he probably would have won the race, because it is really tricky to pass around here. Track position is so important, and Ferrari have given it up, which is not a very wise idea around the track like this, because this is basically a street circuit with the way that's laid out. Because it's so tricky to pass, because it's corner after corner around here. There's only 2 straights on this track. 3 if you include the little one in the middle sector, which the Ferraris are coming up to now. And the gap is 2.6 seconds. They've basically gone back to 0 here. They were within DRS range of Russell when he came into the pits, but they've screwed up here. If they had kept Leclerc out and Sainz out, one of the two out, then they would have had track position, and then they could have pitted them onto hards. Russell would have had to come in again for probably for a set of mediums, which aren't that much quicker in this race. Leclerc has been told slow introduction with these tires, so basically take it easy on the first couple of laps, build it up. That's what his engineer is telling him, his race engineer. But I don't know what the Ferrari strategists are playing at here, personally speaking, because I can't see an angle for this. There's not much overtaking going on track right now. There is only one driver that's actually, 2 drivers that are actually in DRS, which is Daniel Ricciardo on Fernando Alonso, and Yuki Tsunoda on Mick Schumacher. Apart from that, no one else is in DRS range, and there are 3 cars on the hard tyres. Mick Schumacher in 15th, Kevin Magnussen in 18th, and Fernando Alonso in 11th. Everyone else is on mediums. It doesn't say what Alex Albon's on, but I'm going to assume he is on mediums as well. And he is, as Nicholas Latifi comes into the pits. Mine's is a bit behind, actually, so I don't know when he's coming in. Sebastian Vettel now ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, but Latifi could be coming in any second now, basically. And Leclerc's starting to close in on Russell a little bit here. 1.9 seconds is the gap, so he is starting to close up, and very soon they're going to encounter traffic for the first time in this race, lapped traffic, so that is not going to help them out. I personally, for the chat, and Leclerc sets fastest lap, so actually, I could be proved wrong here. Very much, I could be proved wrong here. But Sainz has got a threat behind him, because Max Verstappen is 2.6 seconds behind. Lewis Hamilton is now in 5th, as Esteban Ocon, Esti Bestie, has finally pitted, as Lance Stroll calls him, Esti Bestie. Sergio Perez is now up to 6th. And that's not a great pit stop from Alpine. 4.6 seconds. Valentino Rossi's number 6:46. 24-hour Spa is on right now. And I think after this I might actually give that a little watch, because that finishes at 5 o'clock. Which is weird, considering normally it's earlier than that it finishes. But anyway, this is Formula 1, not GT World Challenge. And here comes, down the inside, the Alpines are battling here. Alonso's through on Ocon. Daniel Ricciardo's getting... Oh my goodness, what a move from Daniel Ricciardo. That was incredible. What a move from Daniel Ricciardo, and he's up into 10th place in this race. When the Alpines were battling, Ricciardo seized the opportunity and he got through. What an overtake from the Australian. And that was brilliant. Leclerc 1.6 seconds behind Hamilton with the purple sector 1 on this lap. He's closing up on Verstappen, but Verstappen's not actually making ground on Carlos Sainz in this race. And like I said, after the pit stops, this is when the race is going to get interesting. 1.4 seconds now the gap between Russell and Leclerc. I have been proved wrong, Ferrari strategy team, as it stands. I am sorry. Could Ferrari yet win this race? Or could Red Bull or Mercedes throw a spanner in the works? This is a replay, and Ricciardo goes to the outside, and he senses that they're both going to run wide, and he takes the opportunity. Of course, Daniel Ricciardo won around here in 2014, and I have to say, move of the race. And Daniel Ricciardo says, let's, explicit word, go. I'll give you a clue. It begins with an F and ends in a G. But anyway, Lewis Hamilton actually ran wide on that last lap and went over the bumps a little bit. But now, the Alpines have another threat. Lance Stroll. Because here comes the Canadian, and he's right behind Fernando Alonso, and on the medium tyres, meaning chances are he's going to have more pace. Even if the Aston Martin is the slower car, they are going to have more pace on those tyres. I mean, it's like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's like Mattia Binotto's talking about how challenging it is in tyres. It's like having the best driver in the world driving on 3 wheels against someone with 4 wheels. It's a bit like that. That's the advantage that Aston Martin has got here with the medium tyres, and just in the background you see Sebastian Vettel. And this is the battle for what eventually will be to 9th place. So Aston Martin are battling for points here despite their poor qualifying, as Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu haven't actually pitted yet. Which is interesting. They're doing the strategy that I said Ferrari should do, which is stay out until about lap 30, come in for hard tyres. And now Leclerc is catching up to George Russell here. And keeping in mind, these two are on equal tyres. So, this will be interesting to see. Leclerc 2/10 quicker on the last lap. Can he get past the British driver who drives for Mercedes? It's not Lewis Hamilton, it's George Russell. This is the second time George Russell has led more than 20 laps in a race, after, of course, the tragic Sakir Grand Prix in 2020, where he led most of the race, but picked up car problems right at the end, more specifically a puncture and a screwed up pit stop. But Russell 9/10 ahead of Leclerc now. Leclerc is going to have the DRS on this lap as they head onto the main straight. Pierre Gasly has just gone past his teammate Yuki Tsunoda for the wooden spoon of 15th place. And here comes Leclerc. He's got DRS. Is he going to be able to make anything here of this? I don't think he will, because he's 9/10 back. And they're talking about tyre preservation, and they're going to have to save the tyres. Leclerc is having a little look there, trying to force a mistake out of George Russell. But the chances of you forcing a mistake out of George Russell are very low. Leclerc deployed the DRS quite late there, and actually cost himself a bit of time. Hamilton's been given a second track limits warning at turn 12, so one more and it's a black flag. And then after that, he'll be getting penalties. And considering it's lap 27, that's not a good thing. If you're getting that second warning on lap 60, then you're going to be fine. But if it's any earlier or any later, then no, you're going to be screwed. But here comes Valtteri Bottas into the pits. And he's going to be behind, like I said, the Alpines and the Aston Martins. Or as Lawrence Stroll would say, Aston Martin. Charles Leclerc 7/10 behind George Russell now. And can he make a move here on this lap? I think he will, because he's catching Russell at a rate of knots and has better pace than the driver in front of him. Carlos Sainz isn't actually gaining any time and is in fact losing out to Max Verstappen here. He's not losing that much time to Verstappen, but he's losing a lot to Leclerc. So that shows that Ferrari is the quicker car here, because Sainz was about 2.3 seconds back, 2.4, 2.5 seconds back a couple laps ago, and now it's 3.1 seconds, and the gap between Verstappen and Sainz has only come down by 2 or 3 tenths. So Verstappen is a lot closer, is a lot slower than the Ferraris are. But here comes Charles Leclerc. Here he comes. Here comes Charles Leclerc. He's heading towards turn 5. He's going to take the outside line, and that always works around here. Russell does not leave him any room though, and Russell stays ahead. This is not going to help Ferrari out in this race, because they need that clean air to save the tyres. And here comes Leclerc again, turn 6, right behind, 2/10 behind, heading into turn 6. Go down, go through the inside line. That is the best line through there. Go wide, hit the curb on the exit, into the braking zone, brake at the 50 metre boards for the chicane. You're not going at that fast a speed anyway. And then heading into the S's, 50 metre board again. Go flat out through the next two. And then you head into a slight braking point for the fast right-hander. The gap is 6/10 between these two, which is good, because that shows that the overtaking is a bit easier than it was last year, because the last year's race, Sebastian Vettel was quicker than Esteban Ocon for the whole race, but couldn't get past him in the DRS. But Here comes Charles Leclerc, 6 tenths behind George Russell. Is he going to be able to do what he didn't do last lap, which is get past the Mercedes driver? Russell's basically an immovable object at the moment. He cannot get him out of the way. Can Leclerc make a move as they head into turn 1? He isn't able to do it on this occasion, but can he get him into turn 4 like he could have done on the previous lap? He's gonna have a look, but he's not close enough. Oh, he's gonna go for it. Oh, he had a little look there. Russell runs a little bit wide, but going wide is the right line through there because you get the power and the momentum on the exit. I don't know why. Ask an aerodynamicist. I am not an aerodynamicist. I do not know anything about a Formula 1 car. Just ask the head aerodynamicist at Aston Martin. I asked him a couple of questions, and I didn't really. Yeah, I'm not great with like the designs of the cars and everything. There's another lad that was there though that's a lot smarter than I am when it comes to that. I'm more just about the knowledge in general about like the history of the drivers and stuff like that, not how the cars have evolved really. But there is Torger Wolf, or as we call him, Toto Wolff. Torger is his actual name, and he's from Austria, despite the fact that Mercedes is a German-run team. There's a really, really good video. I don't know who it was that made it, but they made a video on how Toto Wolff went from being a man with hardly any money to having a net worth of, I believe, 600 million, which is pretty good, if you ask me. Pretty good. I think it was 600 million, I'm not sure, though. I don't know if that's before or after tax. He might live in Monaco, so... Leclerc right behind Russell as they head into turn 1. He's doing exactly what he did on the last lap, which is running wide so he can get a better exit. And is he going to be able to make the move here? He's going to do the exact same thing he did on the lap where he was close enough. Russell runs a little bit wide, and here comes Charles Leclerc, nearly side by side with him. He's got the momentum and the slipstream on him. Is he going to go for a move into turn 6? He's going to try it. They're going to go side by side. Russell's still ahead. And Sainz and Verstappen are both closing in on these two because they are having a fight over this position, and eventually it's going to be a 4-way fight for the lead, just like it was in the 2010 title fight, where it was Lewis Hamilton, Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso who could all win heading into Abu Dhabi. The favourite was actually Mark Webber, interesting fact. It was either him or Alonso that people thought were going to win it. Sebastian Vettel? Nah. He ended up winning it in the end. Because Webber and Alonso were stuck behind a Russian fella called Petrov. That wouldn't happen nowadays because Russian athletes are banned. But anyway, Leclerc 5 tenths behind George Russell as they head in towards the last couple of corners. Is he going to do what Nelson Piquet did to Ayrton Senna at turn 1 here back in 1986? I don't like referring to that guy, but in this case it's actually a noteworthy thing to mention because he overtook Senna to take the first ever Hungarian Grand Prix win around here all the way back in 1986. But here comes Leclerc around the outside and he takes the lead of the 2022 Hungarian Grand Prix. It's a lovely move from Charles Leclerc. He covers the inside line and he stays ahead as they head into turn 4. It was inevitable it was going to happen. Russell does not have the same pace as the Ferrari, and if things stay as they are, Leclerc will close up 14 points on Verstappen in the championship, which is absolutely crucial because as you can see on your screens, Leclerc's got some gap to Sainz in the championship. The gap at the moment is 63 points, so the gap will come down to 49 points heading into the summer break, which could help Leclerc out here because who knows what could happen in nearly half a season. It's a good move around the outside, and he does exactly what Nelson Piquet did back in the day, which was go around the outside and make the overtake. And Leclerc now leading by 1.3 seconds. That just shows the pace difference. Sebastian Vettel has now got past Fernando Alonso, and he is up into 11th place. The Aston Martins are looking very strong here, so could they potentially be on for points? We will see. The main battle to keep an eye out for, apart from Ferrari v Mercedes v Red Bull, as it has been for the last few years, is Aston Martin versus Alpine, because Stroll's in 10th, Ocon's in 10th, Vettel's in 11th and Alonso's in 12th, and these guys are all trying to outsmart each other on the track. AlphaTauri could get involved as well, and potentially Alfa Romeo, but what we do know is that McLaren is way ahead of the others. Although, saying that, Daniel Ricciardo is only 4 seconds ahead of Lance Stroll, but Sainz 2 seconds to Verstappen. He's closing in a lot on Russell, so could he get past? This is a replay of Sebastian Vettel's overtake on his old championship rival Fernando Alonso, and It's a lovely move from Seb, and I'm not just saying that because I interviewed him. It was a good overtake. Not as good as Leclerc's overtake or Ricardo's double move, but it was still a good move as they headed into turn 1. So, Sebastian Vettel now 1.7 seconds behind Esteban Ocon in the battle for the points. Aston Martin would take points. To think that 10 years ago these two were fighting for a championship. Verstappen's got tyre problems, I think. That's what he said. I think that's what he said. And I think Otmar Zafner is enjoying a Coke, because there was a Coke right next to him. I think it was him anyway. It was someone on the board, strategy board, and I think the team principal's right on the left, isn't he? So, Carlos Sainz gained 1 second on George Russell in the last lap. And now the Mercedes performance is starting to go a little bit downhill because Russell used all of his tyres defending from Carlos Sainz. And the tyre saving here is going to be crucial because there is rain on the radar. Is it going to come before the end of the race? I didn't see it, personally speaking, but I think some of the guys at Sky Sports F1 did. I'm trying to listen to what they're saying now, but I'm talking, so can't really hear them. And oh, they're pressing a Toto Wolff is pressing a button there. I think it was tactics. I absolutely love like the Mercedes dashboard because you just got like Lewis tactics. One day someone's gonna make a meme and just put like Valtteri it's James or George it's James or something like that. To be fair, that's not gonna happen anytime soon because George Russell's actually just as good as Lewis Hamilton this year. In fact, he's ahead of him in the championship, and as it stands, he will be collecting their tied best finish of the season. Although, as I say, Carlos Sainz is only a second behind him. So, by the end of this race, it's probably not going to be like that. Max Verstappen's in 4th. He's gained 6 places in this race. Not as many as Sebastian Vettel or Pierre Gasly, who started in 18th and 20th and are running in 11th and 13th. So, they've both gained 7 places in this race. But Sergio Perez is not really gaining on Lewis Hamilton that much. So, that's not going to help Red Bull in their constructors' bid because Ferrari are getting a lot of points at the moment. If Sainz gets past Russell in a couple of laps, Ferrari will be getting the max amount of points they can get as it stands. So if Verstappen gets past Russell, he'll be collecting 15 points. Perez will be collecting 8 because he's in 6th right now. That is, if I do my maths quickly, 23 points. Ferrari are collecting more than that with Leclerc alone. So that just shows Ferrari will be closing up as things stand in the championship, and I believe Sainz might overtake Perez. Although I will need to check that just to verify that I'm right with that. But there's a replay of Leclerc's overtake again. And if Sainz wins this race and Perez stays where he is, the gap will be a lot closer between the two. Alpine, as it stands, will go behind McLaren in the constructors. And by the look of things, not much is going to change really in the order. Ferrari are 82 points behind Red Bull, so they're going to need a miracle to get rid of even half that gap, aka Red Bull double DNF. That would be a miracle for them, because Red Bull reliability has been pretty good this season. And the first lap cars are now coming up now. Russell is defending from Sainz here. 8 tenths is the gap as they head onto the main straight. You need to be within 6 or 7 tenths to make a move as you head out the final corner, so Sainz won't be able to do it here, but you might be able to do it at turn 4 as you head into turn number 1. Now we've got lap traffic. Yuki Tsunoda's just come out on soft tyres, which is an interesting call from AlphaTauri. And yeah, they're starting to lap the back of the pack now. So Albon and Tsunoda have both been lapped now in 19th and 20th. Your full order: 20th place Yuki Tsunoda, 19th Alex Albon, 18th is Kevin Magnussen, 17th is Nicholas Latifi, 16th is Guan Yu Zhou, or Zhou Guan Yu, is he's known in China. 15th is Mick Schumacher, 14th is Valtteri Bottas, 13th is Pierre Gasly, and 12th is Fernando Alonso. 11th is Sebastian Vettel, or as I call him, Seb. 10th is Esteban Ocon, as Lance Stroll, the guy in front of him, would say. 8th is Daniel Ricciardo, aka the Honey Badger. Oh, and Yuki Tsunoda has spun. And that's not great, is it? And can he get going again? Yes, he can. But Tsunoda has spun there. And I wonder if Red Bull are going to try and get a safety car here with their junior team. 7th place is Lando Norris. And here's Sebastian Vettel. He's right behind Esteban Ocon here. And they're going to be battling for 10th place here. And this is just like last year's Hungarian Grand Prix. Ocon v Vettel for 10th. Can Vettel finally get ahead of that ruddy Alpine? That's what Aston Martin are going to be thinking. My friends over at Aston Martin, they're going to be thinking, please Seb, just get past this guy. We've been through this for over a year now. Oh no, he's ran wide. Seb's ran wide. Oh dear. And that's not helped him out. I'm unbiased, by the way, but you know, I think everyone wants Seb to do well in his last season of Formula 1. Maybe try and get one last podium. You know, I remember in Valentino Rossi's last season, he was so close to that 100th podium. He was running in the podium places in, I think it was Jerez in 2020, and he spun. He crashed out, I should say. And then in Catalonia, he was running on the podium in 2021, I think it was. And again, he crashed out from the podium places. Anytime he had good pace, he just couldn't handle it. The AlphaTauri team are just going to be thinking, well, we're screwed. Our senior team is as well. Glad I can move this around. Wee, spinny. I'm playing with my microphone at the moment. Sainz 1 second away from George Russell as they head onto the main straight. I'll need to check chat. Very close from Russell. Hello, Chloe. How are you? I did not see your chat. How are you, my friend? What is that move? It was a very nice move. That's all I'm gonna say. Current age of tires. The one who's been out the longest is actually Lance Stroll, who's been out on his mediums for 22 laps. So since the 15th lap of the race. Now, if you're doing a two-stop strategy, the pit window is going to be coming up in a couple laps. Carlos Sainz is still stuck behind George Russell in this race. This is just not going to end well for him, is it? And I was spot on with lap 30, by the way, because they said two-stop strategy, mediums, lap 42 is when the pit window opens. So I was nearly right with lap 30 when they pit, because it was lap 28, the 28 laps that to the end is when the pit window opens. So turns out I'm not talking waffle. I actually was thinking decently there, but Ferrari are actually doing a decent call here. With Leclerc, and without problems and without Ferrari screwing up their strategy, I think he might win this race. Sainz, on the other hand, has got Verstappen behind him, and he's just not closing enough on Russell to make a move. He's just not got that consistent pace. He was in DRS a few laps ago, but he's on lap 30. We're on lap 38, sorry, as we head onto the main straight with the 3 in second, third and fourth, Russell, Sainz and Verstappen. Verstappen's got DRS, and actually, Sainz doesn't. So, that's not going to help Carlos Sainz out, as Max Verstappen is right behind him, and we're getting spits. Hang on. Oh! Lando Norris has just said everything feels extremely slippery now for some reason. And there were little drops on the camera. It's starting to rain. By the look of things, it's starting to rain up in turn 3 and 4. So, is this race going to be flipped on his head? And is this going to be where Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel absolutely thrive? Because they do extremely well in these conditions. 2020, Turkish Grand Prix. Seb gets a podium. George Russell struggling with his rears, and yet he's 1.3 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz. He is learning his tricks from Lewis Hamilton, where Lewis says the tyres are dead, and then the next lap sits fastest lap. Nothing against Lewis, by the way, I'm just saying he says that all too often. And Seb's past this man Ocon. Sorry, I'm unbiased. I just want Seb to do well in his last season. Yay, up the Seb. I think everyone wants Seb to do well. Max Verstappen has been told to box, and he is into the pits, because there wasn't a Red Bull behind Sainz, so unless he crashed at the last corner without me seeing. Anyway, Verstappen into the pits. What's the pit stop time going to be? It's a good pit stop, 2.5, 2.4, and that was a brilliant pit stop from the Red Bull crew. It's not going to be enough to get him out ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez, although he will be clear, I believe, of Lando Norris. So, Or, oh wait, hang on, he's got a Haas. Nah, he's ahead. No, he's not. He's side by side with that Haas on the corner exit. Oh, go on, K-Mag. Fight him. Or is that Mick? I can't tell. Anyway, Russell's team radio. Russell is now coming into the pits. Now, I wonder what Ferrari are going to do here, because the other two have already played their cards. So now I wonder, they've got a few different cards they can play. They can play the ace, they can play the jack. What are they going to do? As they head into, as this is a replay. Oh, that's a brilliant overtake from, and I'm not just saying that because it's Seb and I've interviewed him. That was genuinely a brilliant overtake. It was a dive bomb from Seb, and he made a really good move on Esteban Ocon. But Ferrari are getting ready now as well, and they're getting out the hard tires. So they are doing what I said they would, only in reverse, which was going lap 30 to the hards, but no, it was lap 40 with 30 laps left. Charles Leclerc is actually coming into the pits. It's not Carlos Sainz, it's Charles Leclerc, and that was not a great pit stop from Ferrari. 3 seconds, yep, 3 seconds exactly. And George Russell was 2.7 seconds. So Charles Leclerc, I don't know what the Ferrari are thinking here in this race. Are they... Well, there's Max Verstappen. No, Sergio Perez, sorry. And Max Verstappen's ahead. Verstappen's ahead of George Russell. So the undercut paid off for Max Verstappen. Sainz is doing the overcut. If he sets a couple of good laps, he might be able to keep up with Verstappen. Although I doubt he will, because that Red Bull is very quick on new tyres, and that Ferrari is not as quick on old tyres. I mean, that's just kind of common logic, isn't it? Verstappen's only got one car between him and Leclerc at the moment, and that is Sergio Perez, and that's what it's going to be after the pit stops, most likely, unless Sainz stays out and keeps him out until the rain. I think what they're going to do is they're going to play the risk with Sainz, and they're gonna play the jack instead of the ace. Don't know why anyone would do that in a game of sevens, because the jack, unless you've got the queen of the king. But anyway, Verstappen's going to get past Sergio Perez here, unless Sergio wants to unintentionally help out Ferrari, which he doesn't. He lets through Max, of course he does, because he is literally twerking for Red Bull. But yeah, I'll check chat again. So Latifi is into the pits now. He'll come out behind Alex Albon, and you'll probably be ahead of Kevin Magnussen. We're on lap 41 here, and here comes Max Verstappen. He's right behind Charles Leclerc, and they're battling here for the lead. Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen runs a little bit wide. Is Charles Leclerc going to be able to do the under and over on him? No, Max Verstappen takes what will be the race lead here, and that has been so surprising. And yet again, I said the Red Bull strategist, the head strategist Hannah is here this weekend, and she's nailed it. I knew she was going to nail it. And also Ferrari have just done a screw up. What a surprise. Am I surprised? No. So now Leclerc is behind Verstappen, and he's going to be thinking, what the hell have you guys done? Although, to be fair, Max is probably going to have to pit again, because surely he's not going to have the tyres to get to the end. According to Pirelli, these go about 30 laps at best. So I think I'm going to sit down for a few minutes, guys, because I need to sit down. My legs are feeling a bit weird, so I'm just going to move the camera for a few minutes. The tyres are terrible, is what Leclerc is saying, basically. Oh! Verstappen spun! Verstappen has spun, and Leclerc is now through, and here comes George Russell. He's going to try and get through on Sergio Perez. He also is right behind Max Verstappen, and then you've got the Haas in the background just casually watching, getting the popcorn out. Here comes George Russell around the outside of Sergio Perez, and he's going to try and get through on Max Verstappen as well. This is unbelievable. Is George Russell going to be able to make the move? No, he's not, but on the exit he's right behind him, and I'm sorry, Cheer, but I'm going to have to push you aside for a minute, because here comes George Russell right behind Max Verstappen. He's unable to make the move, and it's starting to rain. It's the rain. It must be the rain, surely. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Anyway, George Russell 8 tenths behind Max Verstappen now, and Leclerc back in the race lead. Oh, I just realised you guys are probably not going to be able to see my head. I'm going to sit back down again because... So let's see what happened. So Verstappen's heading out of the penultimate corner, and he just loses the back end. I think it might be because of the rain. Let's see, team radio. I think he got on throttle the same as he did for the rest of the laps, so I wonder, is the rain starting to drop at that corner? Or maybe he just made a mistake, which I doubt, because it's Max Verstappen, he rarely makes mistakes. And he's actually not closing on Charles Leclerc now. He's 1 second behind him, and the gap's not really closed that much. And this is for the net race lead, keep in mind, unless Carlos Sainz stays out until the wet period, which is supposedly going to come. I'm going to check the Met Office now for the weather and see if it's going to rain. And then we'll find out if it's true. Sergio Perez is in the pits. Where is... I'll have to re-download the app. So for now, I'm going to have to rely on the unreliable BBC Weather app, which is not very reliable at all. And I am looking for the weather in Budapest. So let me just try and find it. And it is going to be windy, but it doesn't say it's going to rain. 35% chance of rain in the next couple of hours. So it could rain, but it's probably not, according to the BBC Weather, which is usually completely false. Verstappen is only 8 tenths behind Charles Leclerc now. I'm going to have a look at Met Office now and see what the weather is. And can I check what the weather is in other countries? Or 22 degrees, 10% chance of rain. So... And that's in Hungary, which is that's in Budapest, which is where the race is. So, according to both Met Office and BBC Weather, it's not going to rain. Although the weather is suggesting otherwise, because the clouds are heading in the direction of the track. Leclerc is only 3 tenths ahead of Verstappen now as they head. They're on lap 44 now of the race. They're 11 seconds behind Mr. 44, Lewis Hamilton. But number 1 against number 16, Max Verstappen against Charles Leclerc here for third place. Yet another battle between these two. And I'm not just talking about the World Championship fight, I'm talking about on the track as well, because these two have been going at it since their karting days. Fastest Sector 1 by Max Verstappen. I'm going to assume Fastest Sector 2 won't be by Max Verstappen, because he'll get just a teensy weensy bit of dirty air. Not as much as he would last year, but just a teensy weensy bit. Also, I turned off my phone, that's not a good idea, because I want to keep an eye out on chat, so, yeah. So Ferrari are going to play the soft tyre game, so I don't think it's going to rain. What they're doing is they're going to try and hold him out until it dries up, until he can go into softs, which will be about lap 55, I think. But here comes Max Verstappen around the outside. Is he going to be able to make the move this time? No, he's not. Here he comes. Here comes Max Verstappen. Is he going to be able to make the move? And he does. And that's like taking candy from a baby. Max Verstappen's up into third, and Charles Leclerc is in fourth place. George Russell, 2.6 seconds back. He's out of this race, surely. And at the moment, it's Carlos Sainz in the lead. Sergio Perez has just set fastest lap of the race. He is 23 seconds behind George Russell, though. So he is not going to be in the race for the podium. Max, this is a replay of the overtake from Verstappen. And he does the under and over, the switchback of dreams, as Arva would call it. But it's a good overtake nonetheless. And that is that Carlos Sainz, or is that, yeah, Carlos Sainz still in the lead. He's, for him to go into the softs, he needs another 10 or so laps to get onto the soft tyres and go to the end. And Leclerc's main job was to hold up Verstappen, but the gap's only 12 seconds now, so it's not looking great. But Verstappen will probably have to pit again, because his tyres are not going to last the rest of the race. I think he pitted. Let me just check when he pitted. Lewis Hamilton is actually catching Carlos Sainz here, because Sainz is saving his tyres. But I need to refresh the page. Hang on. How do I? There we go. Click refresh. And so Max Verstappen pitted tire history, here we go. So Max Verstappen has been on those tires for 8 laps, and Pirelli estimated that you could do 28 laps on the tires. Verstappen came in on lap 38 or 39. Verstappen's seeing light drizzles, so potentially Sainz and Hamilton could be in the driving seat here. If the drizzles go a little bit more than just drizzles, then potentially it could be Sainz and Hamilton that are going to be in the lead of this race. But who knows? I mean, it's Formula 1. Anything can happen, and often anything does happen. But Verstappen, as I said, he came into the pits on lap 38 or 39. I think it was 39. And he was... Hamilton said, tires are still okay, mate. But what I was going to say was, which is surprising considering it's Hamilton, 27 laps he's been on those tires, so maybe Verstappen could make it to the end, who knows. But it depends on the chassis and the tyre wear of the Red Bull, because the Merc could have better tyre wear, I don't really know, but we're going to find out later on in the stint. Because Hamilton's done 27 laps on those, Verstappen's done 8 laps on his set of mediums. If he can get to the end, then that proves that the Red Bull has good tyre wear, because that would be 32 laps that he's done on those mediums. So Verstappen was a second a lap quicker. So as it stands, he will catch Hamilton on lap 55, which is when Sainz should be able to come in for the softs and make it to the end. Ricciardo and Lance Stroll have both come in as they're having a little race for 8th place. And Sebastian Vettel's coming as well, so Aston Martin are playing a risky game here and are doing a double stack. But we will see how that pays off. It paid off decently, as and Sainz is coming in now. So Carlos Sainz is coming in. I don't know what Ferrari are doing here, but they're pitting Carlos Sainz right now. Are they going on to softs or another set of mediums? Because if they've gone on to a set of mediums, then they've screwed up. And what is he going on to? Oh my days. Slow pit stop again. And he is going on to... I can't tell. Soft tyres. And we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think... I was going to say it must be Lance Stroll or Daniel Ricciardo. And it's Lance Stroll. I don't know what's happened to Lance Stroll, but I think he might have made a mistake and gone off somewhere. But Carlos Sainz is now down to 5th in this race. And he is going to need an absolute miracle to win this race, because he's got to go 22 laps on those things. 22 laps. Now, I need to check. What is the longest lasting stint of soft tyres in the field? "19 laps. And actually, Ricciardo made contact with Lance Stroll. Yeah, Stroll's not at fault there. Ricciardo, he left plenty of space for Ricciardo, but he hit him. And this is a poor pit stop from Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari are a joke on the pit stops. Have been a joke on the pit stops this race. They've made so many errors, and it's just not been good for them. There's the McLaren crew just chilling there, like, he's chatting nonsense. You guys know he's not. Daniel sent him into orbit there. But Sainz is 8 seconds behind Russell. And if you want to count the overall gap, Sainz is about 12 seconds off the lead. Apparently Hamilton's going to be passed, which I don't think he will, because you have to take into account the fact that pit stops are often going wrong here. But Sainz does have the better pace on those softs. So surely he's going to get the jump on Hamilton here. If he just pushes on the opening lap, he'll be ahead of Hamilton. And that's what he needs to have, be ahead of Hamilton. Sainz is in a net P4 right now. Verstappen's won this race by the look of things, unless Sainz can do anything about it. Leclerc's 3 seconds back. So unless Verstappen really hits tyre wear at the end of the race, Verstappen has somehow gone from 10th to 1st. All because of the brilliant strategy team at Red Bull. So just gonna need to move that down a little bit, only a tiny bit. There we go. And Lance Stroll back behind Daniel Ricciardo, and he's just like, You're slow, man. Get out my way. And he's going to be saying that to him any second now. He'll probably go when he gets past him. We'll probably give him a wave. As here comes Lance Stroll. Is he going to get past this time? And he does. And I don't know if he gave him a wave there, but Sebastian Vettel's now past Zhou Guanyu. And the Aston Martins are on different strategies here. They're getting Lancey to go onto the softs, and they've put Sebi, on the mediums. So, interesting call. Will it pay off for either of them? We'll see. But the longest stint that anyone's had on softs was 19 laps at the start of the race. And Ricciardo's been given a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision, and that was George Russell, who went 19 laps on his softs. Sergio Perez went 18 laps, and Lando Norris went 17. So, I think Verstappen could get to the end here, because the Red Bull tyre wear is actually not looking half bad. The gap's 16.6 seconds. Yeah, Hamilton's not getting out ahead. He'll need a minus 3 second pit stop to get ahead, which is impossible. And even if he had the quickest pit stop of his life, then he still wouldn't be ahead. But Sainz is in a bit of... and that's Leclerc, sorry. Leclerc's struggling here. Russell is on mediums and is surely going to get past him on this lap. Russell's much quicker than Leclerc on his tyres. But I think what Leclerc is going to be trying to do is he's going to be trying just to get to the end of the race, because he's not sure if these guys are. I think they will, because the medium usually lasts double the time of the softs. So, and Carlos Sainz is really starting to make headway now on both Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. If Charles Leclerc can just hold him up for long enough, then it'll be good. George Russell just a little bit too far back to make a move here as they head in towards the chicane section, and he won't be getting past here because it's just impossible to pass around here in this middle section. I haven't seen an overtake here in this race, although that could be changed because Gasly's right behind Joe, but no, he can't make the move, so he is still behind him. Lance Stroll is going to be up into 10th place after Valtteri Bottas has his final pit stop. If he does pit at the end, if he doesn't, then Lancey's got to get a move on. But here's a replay, Hamilton, and he's coming in. This is George Russell's POV, and he has got Charles Leclerc still in front of him. Lewis Hamilton into the pits now, but the damage has already been done. He is going to be behind Carlos Sainz after the pit stops, and down the inside goes Sebastian Vettel on Daniel Ricciardo, and now behind him there's a battle going on for second place. George Russell versus Charles Leclerc, and surely it's going to go George Russell's way eventually. Charles Leclerc still ahead, and he's doing a great job for his teammate here at holding George Russell up and making sure that his teammate can catch up, make the move, and catch up to Verstappen now in this race. Ferrari are prioritising Sainz in this race, and I get why, because he had really good pace in qualifying. This is what they should have done in Paul Ricard, but they screwed up. And obviously Leclerc retired. If Sainz had taken the grid penalties in Belgium or Monza, somewhere where you can overtake, then it wouldn't have been that severe. But they took it at Paul Ricard, a track notoriously difficult to overtake at, and a track where he was actually the quickest man, and that screwed Ferrari up. Verstappen looks as though he's going to win this race, and I did say that Ferrari weren't going to win the race with their strategy, and I thought I'd been proved wrong after the end of the first stint. But when Leclerc pitted for hards, you just thought, what are Ferrari doing? And again, Ferrari have screwed up on the strategy, but unless Carlos Sainz can close up quite a lot of time during this stint, I don't think he's going to win. George Russell having a look again. He's still behind Charles Leclerc. The battle for second place continues between these two. Max Verstappen leads by 6.3 seconds, 6.4 now. And here they go into the left-hander. And it's still Leclerc ahead. Russell's trying to make a move, but he's just unable to. He's on the throttle, flat out. But Leclerc pulls away on the corner exit because of the dirty air effect, which is minuscule, but it still has an effect on the lap time. Sainz is still closing in, hand over fist on these guys. He's got one car in between them, which is an AlphaTauri. I believe it must be Pierre Gasly, because Yuki Tsunoda is in the pits. I wonder if they're retiring the car or if they're just pitting him. We'll see. I'm not sure, to be honest. But yes, Yuki Tsunoda has just come out of the pits. Carlos Sainz is only 2.7 seconds back now, and Pierre Gasly has now let him through, and Sainz has now got clean air to try and catch up to these two in front of him. This is going to be a very interesting end to the race, as Sainz could potentially have a dent in Verstappen's chances of winning this race. He could have a chance, although I doubt, because he's so far behind. He's 9 seconds back with 16 laps left. And here comes George Russell. Leclerc comes to the inside to defend. Russell goes around the outside, and Leclerc's going to keep his nose in. Russell runs a little bit wide, but it's a good overtake, and George Russell is finally ahead of Charles Leclerc and is up into second place. So a good overtake from George Russell, and he's now ahead of Charles Leclerc. That mirrored what Charles Leclerc did to him earlier on in the race, which was go to the inside and make the move. And the reason why he made the move was because Leclerc was really getting taily on the exit of the corner, and he just looks like he's struggling out there for grip, for any sort of grip. And you know, if it's gonna rain, the worst tire you can put on is the hards, because it's got no grip, absolutely none. And I don't know what Ferrari have been thinking, but they've screwed up here. Leclerc is already 1.4 seconds behind, and Sainz has got to close in on him. Leclerc is pitting. What are Ferrari doing? They're getting him to pit now, when he's going to be 3 seconds behind Sergio Perez, who is in 6th place. So basically, Leclerc is sacrificing a chance at getting top 5 and is going down to 6th. Well done, Ferrari. Yet again, screwing up your good old strategy, like you do so often. And Red Bull have got their guys out, so I wonder. Oh, fastest lap, and it's been set by Lewis Hamilton. So that's interesting. I'm going to move that along a little bit if I can. Ferrari have screwed up yet again here. And now Leclerc is down in 6th. Red Bull have already won the championship. Now, I wonder, I think the reason why Leclerc is going on to softs is because that's got the best grip, but it has the worst tire wear. And actually, Ferrari did what I thought they'd do with Sainz, and that is pit on lap 55. Sainz pitted ages ago. Sainz is only 2 seconds behind George Russell, so he's 10 seconds off the lead. It's a bit too high up. There we go. I mean, who knows what could happen towards the end of this race. We've still got another 15 laps to go, and Leclerc is in 6th place right now. I wonder if that's enough. I think that's enough. Sainz is 3rd, 2 seconds behind George Russell, with 14 laps to go. Pierre Gasly's just got past Daniel Ricciardo in this race. And yeah, it's working just fine now. I think I'm just gonna sit on the bed from now on instead of sitting in the chair, because then I can just sit as far back as I want. But yeah, Sainz is running in 3rd place right now, 2 seconds off of George Russell. He's not really closing in that much. This is Pierre Gasly's overtake on Daniel Ricciardo as they head into turn 1. It's a switchback of dreams there, and it's a good little overtake from from Pierre Gasly to get past Daniel Ricciardo. And we are on lap 57 of the race, and Max Verstappen is still leading by 8.6 seconds. So surely this is going to be a win for Max Verstappen. because he's just pulled out so much of a gap. 8.4 seconds, and Sainz isn't even closing in on Russell at this stage. Hamilton is 6.1 seconds behind, and we've just sort of ended up in a stalemate. Hamilton's got fastest lap now because he's pushing. Sainz is saving his tyres. I don't know why. He might as well just go push because he's got nothing to lose. And Ferrari have really screwed the bag here. They should have just... You know what, guys? You should have just mirrored whatever Red Bull did. You absolute muppets. You should have just did exactly what Red Bull did, and then maybe you might not have ended up at the back of the fight for the top. Because as it stands, they're gaining the least amount of points out of the top three. Which is ironic considering they've got the fastest car, arguably. The strategy team, the whole strategy team, needs to be fired and put back together again with new people who know their stuff. They need to poach staff from other teams. And it just shows how poor Ferrari's strategy team is, because they could have ended up with 2 cars in the top 3 potentially if they had pitted on from mediums to hards and just gone to the end. Well, actually, no, they probably wouldn't have, because Leclerc was really struggling on the hards. What they should have done? They should have done medium, soft, if they could. And that's what they did with Sainz. They did medium, soft with Sainz. But with Leclerc, they screwed up. And, you know, Sainz he's gaining again on Russell. The gap's 1.8 seconds now. But Verstappen's still leading by 8.6 seconds. This is dominant in the sense of it. You know, heading into the season, we expected a title fight, but Verstappen's just dominating at the moment. Russell's team are saying, we think tyres will be fine to the end. And I'm just going to check the tyres. And Sainz has been on these tyres for 14 laps now. So he is only 5 laps away from how long the longest soft runner has had with their tyres. And Hamilton's now catching Sainz at over a second a lap, and Sainz isn't even closing in on Russell. So Ferrari are going to end up 4th and 6th here, when they're probably the quickest car out of the 3 teams. Which is really, really funny to me. And if you're wondering why I'm sitting down now, the race has sort of calmed down, so unless we have a Nicholas Latifi crash or someone else crashing and causing a safety car, chances are we're not going to have any more problems in this race. I mean, the Ferrari party ended ages ago, Crofty. Crofty just said, oh, Verstappen's ruined the Ferrari party. Well, the Ferrari party never existed this weekend. They led for about 20 laps, 10-15 laps, and then screwed up on strategy again. Textbook Ferrari, have the quickest car and have the worst strategy team. And 11th Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll and Valtteri Bottas are battling for the last points here. I mean, I'm not really sure. It's so weird because most of the drivers have actually lost places in this race, because Gasly, Vettel, Perez and Verstappen have gained like 25 places in this race combined. And then you've just got guys like Zhou and Albon who've lost 4 or 5 spots in this race. Hamilton's 1.3 seconds a lap quicker than Russell, and he's so close to Sainz. I do not know what Ferrari are playing at here, because let me just think about it. Let's think about it this way: they lost 7 point. Well, they lost well over a dozen points with Leclerc because they chose to keep him out instead of putting him in Silverstone. They screwed up with Sainz in France. They could have gotten a podium, and he ended up finishing 5th or 6th. And then you had this race here, Hungary, and can't really say much because it's just been a bad strategy call after bad strategy call and bad pit stop after bad pit stop from Ferrari. So it's so weird because Ferrari have just been, in the last few years, Ferrari have just been up and down with their strategy calls. And Croft saying, "Oh, Hamilton's catching top 3." Obviously, I mean, Sainz has basically just hit the limit with everything. He can't do anything. He's just struggling. Sainz team radio. Sainz's tyres are apparently healthy, but they have graining. That makes no sense to me. But then again, they've got the telemetry. All we see is what everyone else sees. It isn't at Ferrari. Ferrari have got the telemetry and they've got data for the tyres. You know, back in the 60s, it was just, oh, he's got a puncture, and oh, he's got graining. The tyres are screwed. Let's pit him. Whereas nowadays it's just, okay, he's got graining, but the telemetry says the tyres are good. Rely on technology, we shall. Hamilton right behind Carlos Sainz here, and could Merck be on for yet another double podium at Ferrari's misfortune? They probably will, because Sainz is just struggling here. They chose to prioritise Sainz, and it's not paid off for them. And to be honest, I think Ferrari just need to change everything up for Belgium. They've got a summer break to think about everything. And if they finish 1-2 for the rest of the season, they might have a chance of winning the title. They might at that point. But I don't think they're going to win. I don't think Leclerc or Ferrari or Sainz or anyone from Ferrari are going to be lifting the trophy at the end of the season. Because Red Bull have got this in the bag at the moment. They just need to keep doing what they're doing and let Ferrari keep doing what they're doing, and they've won the title. But Stroll right behind Bottas here. Is he going to be able to make the move on the main straight? I don't know where they are on track right now. I'll see if I can get the data as to where. Well, actually, my thing is behind, so I'll see if Stroll's ahead or not. And he's not yet. Stroll's still behind Vettel, and Gasly is quite a bit ahead of Ricciardo, isn't he? Yeah. Sebastian Vettel right behind Lance Stroll, and Lance Stroll right behind Valtteri Bottas, and here comes Lance Stroll. He's going to make a move on Valtteri Bottas, and Lewis Hamilton is through on Carlos Sainz, and Carlos Sainz can't do anything about that. Lance Stroll gets through on Valtteri Bottas, and now Mercedes have their double podium. Angela Cullen's just like, everyone at Mercedes is just having a party right now. Ferrari, on the other hand, will be thinking, where the hell are those strategists? Get them out the door. You're fired. It's basically that Donald Trump quote, get that son of a off the field now. He's fired. Fired. But instead of the word being field, get him out of that, get him off that get him out of that desk. Off the desk. And it's a lovely move there from Mr. Stroll to get through. Now Sebastian Vettel's in 11th, and these two can have their own little fight for 10th place, just like they did in France on the very last lap. And now the Mercs are having a battle for 2nd, and Ferrari have screwed up again and cost themselves everything. I mean, I'm just going to look at Twitter now, because to be honest, Hamilton's going to beat Russell. We know that's going to happen. I need to have a look at. I'm going to have a look at Twitter now just to see everything that's going on. Let's just have a look. This is the worst strategy in F1 history. I've got tears in my eyes. Yeah. I've been sat here trying to think of explanations and I've got nothing. How do you look at Alpines on hards and think, yeah, that's the way to win this race? True. This is absolutely abysmal. Hannah Schmitz is just... She's wiped the floor with Ferrari. Okay. Yeah, Sky commentary are just openly talking about how terrible Ferrari strategies are, and yeah, they're just basically exposing them all they like. Ferrari have butchered another open goal. Yeah, if Mercedes had the car that Ferrari did, they'd be leading the championship at this point. I'm going to tweet that actually. Russell's ahead of Hamilton now. As it stands, Verstappen leads the championship by 80 points. I mean, they're going on about how if it's gonna rain, everything's gonna change, but it's not gonna end up like Sochi. It's not gonna end up like Sochi. I'm just going to make another tweet because, to be honest, this is the only thing that's getting me through this. And I'm going to go with the Mr. Bean meme. And it's one of him with the food where he drops the food and he goes, I'm just gonna have a Twitter frenzy right now, to be honest, because I got nothing else to do. This race has been so... I mean, Ferrari have just found a way to screw up in that slap. Really, I've got nothing else to say. I mean, Sainz might get third, but he probably won't. Yeah, Red Bull have stopped the Ferrari resurgence in their tracks. And Mercedes, for the second race in a row, are going to get a double podium, and Hamilton's going to get his fifth straight podium, which just shows how crap Ferrari have been in the last two races, because the Mercedes is much slower. And also Perez as well. Perez has been really poor in the last few races, but that's because Red Bull are prioritising Max. So, I mean, apparently it's gonna rain straight after the race is finished, which is and that is Valtteri Bottas, and surely that's gonna be the race over. And Bottas is out the race. Now, if Niels Vittich or Eduardo Freitas, which whoever's in charge, wants to make it interesting, they're going to be like, let's put out a full safety car and bring it in on the last lap, and then we'll have a dash to the end, and Lewis Hamilton will probably win. Bring the safety car out, lads. Oh, it's a VSC. Damn it. I hate the existence of VSCs. Whoever came up with VSCs should be sent to the Shadow Realm. And if it was Charlie Whiting, I am extremely sorry for saying that. Hang on, let me just Google this. Please don't say Charlie Whiting. Oh, it was developed after... It was started following Bianchi's accident in 2014. Yeah, I get why they do that. But that wouldn't have made any difference. They should have just red flagged that race. Claire's saying, is the car okay? This race is in a bit of a stalemate now, so I'll go through the running order. It's Max Verstappen who's going to win this. Second is Lewis Hamilton. Third is George Russell. Fourth is Carlos Sainz. Fifth is Sergio Perez. Sixth is Charles Leclerc. Seventh is Lando Norris. Eighth is Fernando Alonso. Ninth is Esteban Ocon. And the final points position is Sebastian Vettel. Of course, this is his first race after he announced his retirement from the sport. But the virtual safety car has now ended, and we're back to green flag racing. Russell's talking about how hard it's raining, but that's going to be irrelevant because we're heading on to the final lap now. Kevin Magnussen's into the pits. I wonder, is he pitting for inters or is he retiring the car? Because if he's pitting for inters, it's pointless. Let's see, is he pitting for inters? No, he's on softs. See, people are already starting to leave because they're just like, nothing else is going to happen in this stupid godforsaken race. And yeah, the race is practically finished. Final lap, Max Verstappen's won at the end. I'm sorry guys, I just can't find a way to make this exciting or dramatic. As it stands, Max Verstappen is going to extend his championship lead and is just dominating this championship. I'll see you all later. Just bye. Just bye. I just realised it is actually starting to rain now. And he's on worn mediums, so we might not be done yet. Although Crofty's literally clutching at straws at this point. Well, no, because I mean, it's what ifs are just stupid. I mean, I tweeted them, what if Mercedes had Ferrari's car, they'd probably be leading the championship, and that's genuinely true. But yeah, Max Verstappen. I mean, it's Hannah Schmitz won them the race with her brilliant strategy. Hats off to Hannah Schmitz, and she has won Red Bull this race. Well done to Max Verstappen. He wins the 2022 Hungarian Grand Prix. Second place is Lewis Hamilton for the second race in a row, and George Russell for the second race in a row is third. Double podium yet again for Mercedes, and Charles Leclerc in sixth. Did he just say Paul Ricard or Paul Ricard? I'm hearing things at this point. Right, guys, for my sanity, I'm just gonna go now because